Hello and welcome to Good Game Well Played for the week of Friday the 13th of May. My name's Hingers and today on the show we'll be chatting to Alex Gonzalez, the CEO of new Oceanic eSports outfit Nuovo Gaming. But first, let us look at that news. And we start with League of Legends news, as MSI heads into the knockout stage after a chaotic group stage. Riot's 6-team mid-season invitational kicked off in Shanghai last week, and the round-robin stage saw upsets galore. American underdogs CLG were able to take a game off world champions SKTT1, who also dropped a game against Royal Never Give Up and went down 2-0 to Taiwanese team Flash Wolves. Royal topped the group stage, going 8-2, and into the semi-finals they will face off against SKTT1, and CLG will take on Flash Wolves. We'll do a full wrap-up of MSI next week. And staying with League of Legends, developer Riot has banned Team Renegades from all competitive play. According to Riot, the North American team knowingly violated the competitive ban against Chris Badawi, misrepresented their relationship with TDK, and compromised player welfare and safety, referring to an alleged deal to grant Badawi a 50% stake in the team once his current ban had ended. As a result, Renegades and Badawi have been permanently banned from competitive play, while Caster and Renegades co-owner Monte Cristo copped a 1-year ban from managing any Riot-affiliated esports teams. In a post on Reddit, Badawi said, "I don't even know what to say to this. A secret deal with Monty? One simply does not exist. Not fulfilling contractual obligations? I'm beyond baffled. None of it is true. I'm just floored at the injustice and randomness of this ruling." They're called Renegades. Like, what do you expect? They're gonna play by their own rules, you know? Renegades. And moving to team shooter news, Cloud9 have won the biggest Overwatch tournament to date. The $5,000 US Best of 9 Overkill final was watched by over 18,000 people, as the Americans took on Erebus Reunited, formerly of Fnatic. Even though the game is still in beta, Cloud9 have now positioned themselves as the premier Overwatch esports team, as this is their second big tournament win in as many months. You know what's weird about Overwatch? Right, so Blizzard took Tracer from Overwatch and put her into Heroes of the Storm, right? But one of the characters in Overwatch, D.Va, her character history is she's a former StarCraft pro, so that means they've linked those worlds. But in the Heroes of the Storm world, there are StarCraft heroes, so that means if they ever put D.Va into Heroes of the Storm, it's going to be like a person who used to play a game professionally, now in a new video game with characters from the game she used to play like, that's like Spider-Man in the new Spider-Man movie reading a comic book about the X-Men, do you know what I mean? And finally, in sports/esports crossover news, English football team West Ham United have signed a FIFA esports star. Sean Allen, gamertag Dragon, is now an official Hammer after the 24-year-old was runner-up in this year's FIFA Interactive World Cup back in March. The club awarded him with his own kit and number at the Upton Park ground. Dragon is the first esports player to be signed to an EPL team, but obviously will not be the last, because now that this has happened, I will commit literally all of my time to getting a contract with Crystal Palace. I guess I'll see you all at the FA Cup final. Alright, that is it for the news. Let us chat to Alex Gonzalez. We're now joined by Alex Gonzalez, who is the CEO of Nuovo Gaming, to chat via Skype because it's 2016 and this is the best way that we could do it. Hey Alex, how's it going?
Hey Michael, happy to be on the show.
Thank you for joining us. So you guys have just started this brand new Oceanic gaming outfit called Nuovo Gaming. Tell us a bit about it.
Well, we launched about 2 weeks ago and we've had a lot of, international coverage. We've had a lot of news outlets wanting to know, why are we interested in Oceania? It's a struggling region. There's not a bunch of prize money, a bunch of different stuff, a lot of pros and a lot of negatives getting from a bunch of different people, but we're happy to be here and we're really trying to make some moves.
So why did you choose Oceania then, if it's like a struggling scene and stuff?
Well, we chose it because it's a struggling scene. There's obviously not a lot of professionalism, there's not a lot of infrastructure going around, and it's struggling in itself, and we're trying to kind of change that, bring a more professional outlook towards it. There's definitely a few people already trying to make that happen, but there needs to be more involvement for it to kind of pick up the pace and catch up to North America, Europe, Asia, and the other regions.
And when you talk about trying to evolve the oceanic scene, what kind of struggles have you come into so far?
A lot of skeptics, a lot of people thinking that we're going to come in here and, I don't know what they think we're going to come in here and do to them, but obviously a lot of them have had bad experiences with bad contracts, organizations taking their prize money, organizations not fulfilling promises as far as travel, accommodations, and I've heard horror stories in North America, and it's no surprise that when I come to Oceania, it's the same thing.
Do you see people in Australia being skeptical because you guys are coming from America to set this up as well?
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of people's concern. They say like, oh, well, why are you coming? Obviously, there has to be an incentive for you guys. And I mean, of course there's an incentive. We're just not coming in here to do this for fun and just do this for no reason whatsoever. Obviously, like I said, I'm putting a lot of my time into it. We're putting a lot of our funding into it. But at the end of the day, we're doing this because we enjoy it, and we're doing this because we see it as a growing region, and eventually it's going to catch up to North America and Europe. I don't think that's a question. It's just a question of when.
So when you look at that trajectory between where Oceania is now and where you want it to be in the future, what are the kind of steps that Nuovo Gaming will be taking to kind of grow the scene?
Well, there's only so much that we can do on our end, but we are going to try to work with players and individuals to try to help them create their own brand in themselves, maybe start creating more content, start kind of acting like a professional player, because the whole way that Oceania is being run right now, where there isn't so many stakes up for grabs, a lot of these players are saying like, well, what's the point? But there always has to be those people who are willing to sacrifice and make those first steps for the whole region in itself. Like, you can't just be the first one to benefit from it always. Someone always has to be that person who puts in all the work and doesn't get as much.
What kind of technical difficulties have you run into working with people from Australia?
Well, I mean, a lot of the time, a lot of these players can't stream because from what I've been told, unless you have a provider called NBN, the internet is just like completely awful. So, I mean, we have top players like Iagus, which dominates the StarCraft scene, and people would love to see him play probably, like kind of hear him talk about his decisions or talk about what he's doing in game and kind of learn from one of the best players in the region. So it kind of sucks that because of the internet, people can't watch him play, but from what I've been told, the internet's rolling out throughout the country. So hopefully... It's slowly
rolling out throughout parts of the country, yeah.
Hopefully, once it rolls out, a lot more of these players start streaming, because it's a shame that like a good 50% of them, if not more, can't stream. And a lot of people would love to watch them.
Yeah, I mean, we see as well in Australia a lot of people leaving Oceania to go and train in the States or in Europe or in Korea. With various games. Is that kind of something you guys are looking to doing?
It's nothing that we've really been interested in it yet. It's nothing that's really been an occurrence, but we've picked up a bunch of professional teams. Within the last 2 weeks, we have 5 different teams already. So, I mean, if they're performing at a high level and they're like crushing the region, then it's definitely something that's possible. It's been done with a bunch of players in Halo and League of Legends and Counter-Strike. So if it's something that's a possibility and they could compete in the other regions, then I don't see why not. I don't see why we wouldn't consider that.
So what kind of games has Nuovo currently invested in Oceania?
Well, within the past week, we ended up getting into League of Legends, which is, I guess, the biggest esport in Oceania as of right now. It's the most structured. It's being run by the publishers of the game, Riot. So it has a lot of organization to it, and it's pretty much the safest route. And we had to buy the spot right there, which that's, I guess, one of the cons of it being so organized, that the organizations control the spot. We can't just get together a group of players, essentially. So we bought the spot from an organization, and now we're trying to put together a roster to compete in that. And on top of that, we have Counter-Strike, Rocket League, StarCraft, and Hearthstone. So we're just going to a bunch of different titles, anything that really jumps out to us that has some sort of infrastructure.
So because you're kind of doing this from the other side of the world, what's your decision-making process like? How are you picking people to work with or looking at different games to work with?
Well, we're using a lot of, I guess, of the influencers, so the casters, the organizers, tournament admins, people that I guess are more biased and kind of know the players in the community and kind of saying like, hey, what's this player all about? Is he a good guy? Is he like toxic? Is he like... So we just kind of work with a bunch of more, I guess, of the credible people behind the scenes, and then kind of then let's start trickling down towards the players and trying to figure out who exactly is trustworthy and who we think like kind of has the right mindset for what we're trying to do in Oceania.
But how do you know you can trust what these like people are saying? You know, like you guys, I feel like you're investing quite a bit, and you're obviously buying teams and working with people, but without being here on the ground, is there not like a fear that you could be misinformed about stuff?
Well, we're trying to do as much research as we can, and essentially before we really sign on any players, any coaches, any staff, I really sit in a call with them throughout a few days and talk to them and say, what's your experience? Why do you want to work with us? What do you benefit from this? And get a feel for them. And I mean, there's always going to be that one person who slips through, and it happens, and it's the internet, but we're doing the best we can to kind of make sure that everyone on board is trustworthy and has a good reputation and really isn't going to do any danger, I guess, to the brand name.
To look at like the fundamentals of this though, what does a player gain from joining an esports team?
Well, in Oceania right now, since there's not a lot of infrastructure, that's what a lot of the players are kind of telling us. We tell them like, hey, we're interested in you representing us. And right now they're representing whatever name they want. It's not even like an organization, it's just a made up team name.
Right.
And then we're trying to tell them like, you kind of have to build your brand. We're helping expose them to an audience that normally doesn't see them. We kind of just have to grow the players individually as a brand, kind of get their names out there. What we've been doing is offering players like signing bonuses, stipends, or if they place well at a certain event. Another thing we do is we don't take any of their prize money, which is kind of rare, I guess. Even in North America and Europe, organizations try to, I guess, balance off their costs by taking a small cut of the prize money. And typically it isn't a huge deal, but when you have huge international tournaments like in Dota that are playing for millions and millions of dollars, a good 10% ends up being a couple $100,000, if not $1 million.
Like you said, your roster is rapidly expanding because you've just started and you're signing a lot of people. Tell us a bit about the people you've signed and why you're excited to work with them.
Well, we signed someone named Ethan Sugai. He goes by the name of Iagus, and he's a StarCraft 2 pro. He's won over $30,000. He leads the Oceanic scene in prize money, tournament winnings, everything. He just recently flew over to North America to play in DreamHack Austin, the first DreamHack North American event. And now in another week, he's going to be flying over to France to play in DreamHack Tours. So he's going into a bunch of international events, and he's kind of already a known name in that community internationally. So we're definitely really excited to work with him. In Hearthstone, we're working with Tom, and Tom just won the last tournament in Oceania. He didn't drop a single game. So that was kind of exciting for us. We're already having a lot of good results with our players and our teams within the first 2 weeks of launching. So everything's going great so far.
Well, it is super exciting that you guys have started a team here in Oceania, and best of luck in the future. Thanks so much for chatting to us.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks for having us on.
Cheers. All right, that is it for the show this week. Let us know what kind of struggles you think this new Oceanic gaming outfit will face as they get set up. Until next week, Hingers out. Goodbye.